Welcome back to the Marvelous Middle-Aged Podcast. This week, I'm speaking with Michele Jones. Michele is a wife, mom, dog mom, learner, business owner, football fan, and a follower of Jesus. After being a stay-at-home mom for 20 years, she found herself as a business owner and then received the call to go into ministry full-time. She's pursuing her master's in Divinity and will be graduating in May 2024. Michele and I speak about her transition from working with her husband to working full-time in ministry and completing an advanced degree at this stage of life. We also discuss her passion for being part of mission work in other countries. Michele's story shows that no matter what season of life you're in, you can begin a new career path, pursue an advanced degree, and travel the world. I hope you enjoy my conversation with the amazing Michele Jones. Michele Jones, welcome to the Marvelous Middle-Aged Podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here today to share a little bit of my story, I guess.
Yes. You're absolutely one of the people I thought of when I was putting the idea for the podcast together, just because of your journey these past few years. And I'm excited for you to share with everybody about that. Before we get into that, though, can you just introduce yourself to everybody, who you are, what you do, a little bit about your family?
Sure. My name is Michele Jones, and for pretty much 26 years of my life, I was known as Mom and enjoyed that role tremendously. My daughter, Ashley, she's 20, almost 28.
Oh my gosh.
And she lives in Nashville with her husband, and my son, Aaron, lives in Phoenix, Arizona, works out there. He's 25. So
wow,
kids are spread out, but in fun places. So it's fun to go visit them because there's great things to do when we're there.
You bet.
And my husband and I, Mike, we high school sweethearts. We just celebrated our 30-year anniversary this past summer.
Congratulations. That is awesome.
So anyway, that's kind of our little backstory of our family, at least.
Love it.
And, but yeah, so that's my
your
family.
story, and you're sticking to it. I love it. I love it. I know. I can't believe that your kids are as old as they are.
It's hard to believe.
It's just, wow. And it's awesome. And like you said, you've got fun places to go visit them. Mm-hmm. So that's a bonus, right?
Yeah. It's great. It's sad that they're not, in Iowa.
Yeah.
But, the great thing about technology nowadays is I pretty much talk to one of them almost every day of the week.
I love that. Yeah. I know. I was talking to my sister about that the other day because she just moved her daughter out to Montana this summer for her first post-college job. And I said, how did our parents do it? When we moved out, there was no FaceTime. There was no email even. I mean, I might have been email, but I mean, there was just no texting, none of this. And how traumatic that probably was to go from seeing your child every single day of their life. And then all of a sudden they're just somewhere else. And there was the telephone. Obviously, we're not that old. We had telephones.
Yeah.
But that was about it. I mean, for all intents and purposes. So you didn't, pick up your cell phone and text your child or FaceTime your child or any of that. And I don't know how they survived that. That's just, kind of.
So it's made my transition to grown-up kids a lot easier.
You bet. You bet. We can take solace in that we have some technology now to help us.
It's not all bad.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Well, I, was thinking about how we met. And I think we both had been attending our church. We both attend the same church, and we'd been attending both for a while, but hadn't actually met each other one-on-one until we were both on the call team back. When did we start that? Was that like January of 2018? Was it?
Because I think it was.
We call Paul's call was in October of 2019.
Well, then it was before then.
Yeah.
Because we were on call team for 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. What in the world?
Lots of Domino's pizza.
That was a long time. Oh yeah. A lot of meetings, a lot of Domino's pizza, a lot of things happen. So Michele and I go to the same church, and in our church, a pastor is called. So it's not like they're hired. They're called to that position as senior pastor. And so our previous pastor had decided to take another role. So we needed to call a new pastor, and they put together a call team. I think there were 8 of us on the team, plus our church council president. And so we were all on that team. It was a mix of men and women in different ages. And so
different ways we were involved in the church.
We were all involved in different ministries, different volunteer activities. And we spent years, literally years, recruiting, interviewing, listening to sermons. You were kind of our sermon person, as if I recall. Like, we all listened to sermons, but you were really the one that dug deep into, which probably could have been like a little clue into what happens for you later, which we're going to get into.
My future. But yeah, I loved listening to sermons.
You were so great about that. You would come back and say, well, I listened to this person and here's some cool things they said, but here's some things that maybe weren't, or, things I wasn't sure. And then we'd go listen and, oh yeah, I picked up on that too. And so I know a lot of that, because that was just time consuming, right? Time consuming for you to listen to all of those. So I know the team really appreciated you investing that time into listening to those sermons, because that was part of it. And that was part of the screening process. We had multiple interviews with many candidates, some over Zoom or Skype, some were in person. We did, it was a lot. It was just a lot of learning, a lot of meetings, discussing candidates, and then as it got to the end, we were spending a lot of time kind of trying to decide who the best candidate was. And it was a lot of talking, and we would rank on different things. A lot
of discernment on that.
Oh, tons of discernment on that. And, we were just 8, like none of us at that time were, pastors or had any kind of like professional role in the church. We all just volunteered in different ways over the years. And so we were all kind of coming at this, like just trying to find the best person to lead our church next. And, I think, I'm biased, but I think we did a great job, because our senior pastor is amazing. He's absolutely amazing. I was telling you a story. He approached me the other day he said, I've got to ask you about something. And it was about being on a committee or something. But I thought in my head, if he asked me to be on another call team, which it's not, there is no call team at our church now. I said, I'm going to have to say, no, I can't do that again.
Well, luckily I don't have to do that. I'm on staff.
No, we are not doing that. No, you're on staff now. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't do that. Yeah. So but all that joking aside, like, it actually was a great experience.
It was, cause it brought you into friendship with people, because our church is rather large.
Yes.
With people you would not have known well before.
Right.
And so, and I've traveled with Dale and Joy on, several different trips now. So
it's great.
It was a good experience, because I was thinking back on this. We probably were together at least every other week.
At least. Yeah. At least. Sometimes even like multiple times.
Yeah. For 2.5 years.
Wow. And before we started recording, we were talking a little bit about everything that happened for all of us, even personally during that time. Ashley, your daughter, got married during that time. I think a couple of people became grandparents for the first time. One of the other ladies on the team, her mom passed away during the call team process. My mother passed away during that process. We had just multiple, I think one person might have had a child graduate from high school. I mean, there was just like was a lot. We did a lot of life together.
Yeah, it was, didn't we? We were sort of like our own small group.
We were. Yeah. And we actually did. Before everyone, we would do a devotional and pray. And yeah, it was actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of miss it a little bit. We're not doing a call team.
Not doing a call
for
team.
a long time. Better not. Well, again, I really was excited to have you on, because you have been through a lot of really cool and amazing changes here recently. And you had kind of the shift professionally from working with your husband, and now pursuing a new degree and a role at our church. And kind of before we get into exactly what all of the new things are that you're doing, kind of what was the the catalyst. Maybe describe a little bit about what you did with your husband and then kind of what the catalyst was for starting to pursue this new path.
Yeah. So my husband and I, we bought a business in 2016. What our business does is we actually produce blank labels for products. And so we worked together literally in the same room a lot for since we bought that company. And so a lot of people will think, well, working with your spouse like that, how do you do it? But I mean, I absolutely loved it.
That's awesome.
The one thing with working with your spouse is, and my husband, he's the one who said this out loud first, is the relationship is more important than work.
Right.
And so always put the relationship first.
Yes.
Because, of course, owning your own business, it's wonderful, but it can be a very stressful enterprise. So
yeah.
Anyway, that was actually something that we kept in forefront through those years is always keep the relationship first. So
you bet.
It was a great experience doing that for sure. And so when the idea of getting my master's in divinity came up, it was actually a very natural transition because I had done a lot of mission work. And so the whole idea of getting involved in some more education, which it started as a micro MDiv. So it's to take classes to learn more theology, leadership development, spiritual formation. And so that was an 18-month program. And I thought that's just great for the natural stuff that I have been doing. And then towards the end of that, I really felt the calling to go beyond and complete the whole degree. And Mike has been always just incredibly supportive of that, which has been really great.
That's great. I love that. I love that. Yeah. I definitely want to talk about your mission work too here in a little bit as well. And I could see why having that micro MDiv would be such a benefit as you're out there in the mission field doing that type of work. And so I could see how that was a very natural kind of next step in your thought process. Yeah. So as you were doing that, I know you've been at that for a little while. You then had an opportunity to join the staff at our church and tell everybody a little bit about what that position is, what your kind of role on the staff is, and what that's journey has been like. So that's very different from going to kind of almost a corporate, I know it was a home, you guys were working and owning the business. Going from that type of work to working on a church staff is different.
It was, there was a lot of prayer and discernment in that. While we were going through this, which I still have, I'll graduate May 18th, 2024, counting down the days.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
While going through this, Pastor Paul has been involved in sort of our spiritual formation side of the degree. And, he had brought up the idea of me, helping out more with missions at the church. But it kind of simmered for a while. We were expanding the business into the more production. Okay. And so I had my hands full. I was enjoying what I was doing, with that. And, but then, God guides you in different paths.
He has a way of doing that, doesn't he?
And it was a struggle, though, because I enjoyed so much what I was doing and enjoyed so much working with my husband that I was, I wasn't sure if I wanted to give that up.
Right.
But Mike was exceptionally supportive of, he was always like, you got to follow what your passion was. And my passion, pretty much since 2016, actually, 2016 had some sort of was a big year, I guess.
Something was going on there for sure.
But
love that.
He's again, you got to follow your passion. And that has been your passion, to do mission work and to help others discover how awesome it is to love God and love others at the same time. So anyway, Pastor Paul's like, well, you can work half-time. And so I did a year of that, working half-time. Well, 15 hours. Technically, it really wasn't 15 hours that I was working at church. No. And then also working the business afterwards. And that was exhausting, and going to school. So it was last year was a really heavy year, I guess.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And then, but then this July, he's like, you should like come full time. And Mike was like, yeah, we can. Our daughter was working actually part-time for us that previous year. And so she's actually backfilled into what I was doing a lot. I was doing a lot with inside sales.
Okay.
And so that's what she's doing now as well. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So you had a person to fill your shoes on that side of the house, and then
and someone that you knew
could trust her. She knew she had all the best interests of the business and the family at heart. And I love that.
So
I love that. That's great. Well, when they kind of made the like formal announcement, I was like, yay, because I know I've seen where your heart has taken you in terms of, again, doing the mission work, doing that, as you are in this role now full time. Have there been anything that's been like unexpected, any specific challenges, anything that you really were like, this is exactly what I thought it would be, or, oh my gosh, no, this is so different, but it's good in a different way? Any revelations that you've had about this work or working on a church staff that's been for you?
The difference is you're like, when you're working, in your business, that was more like your private life.
Right.
But like working at church is more like public service.
Sure.
So you will, no matter where you're at, people will know you.
Yeah.
And talk to you. And so, that's being on, I guess. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it.
But you always have to kind of be forward facing.
Yes.
You always have to kind of be outward facing to the congregation, whether you're physically in the church building or you're out somewhere, or you're doing an event or whatever the case may be. That role, yes, it's your professional position, but it's also kind of becomes your, not who you are, but kind of your persona, right?
Yeah.
To someone who's in the congregation who doesn't personally know you. Oh, that's Michele. She's our director of missions.
Yeah.
And oh, she does this and does that. And you could be at the grocery store, you know, and they'll see you, and it's different. Yeah, it's different.
The great thing is, though, you get invited into so many other people's lives than you would have not have had the opportunity to do before.
Right.
So that is the flip side, which is awesome, that I really, really enjoy, is that, there's so many more people that, we all have struggles, and we all have, we have our valleys and our highs. And so to be able to be invited into that with people has been the great part of it,
Right. Walk alongside them and be there with them, and whether it's just encouragement or prayer or just counseling them, whatever the case may be, that's really powerful.
Yeah,
absolutely. Especially if that's something that you personally really seek out in your life, in your faith life too, knowing that you're serving others and things like that. I want to talk about your degree a little bit. So, I think in middle age, I know a lot of people, that have decided to go back and get a degree or an advanced degree of some sort. What has that been like, being a student again and, learning, and what's that journey been like for you?
Yeah. So our degree, because there's 3 of us that are from St. Mark's that are pursuing this right now. And we are doing, we've done the super slow path, which equates to 6 years of our life.
Wow.
But even though it's a slow path, it's just been really pretty intense. So when that rhythm started of, okay, I got to read, 1 to 2 books a month, I got to write 4 papers a month.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming at first.
Oh, I bet.
Because, I'm 52 now. And, it's a long time since I was 21 in college,
Yeah.
That's a long time of not writing papers and writing academic papers. And so it was an adjustment. It was a lot of trying to figure out your rhythm that you were going to do to get through all this. And, some months are easier than others that, okay, I stick to that because discipline is not my strength, I guess.
Sure.
That's something I could work on. And so getting into those rhythms where you can accomplish all that you need to accomplish and still be transformed by what you're reading and what you're writing is a harder, but once you get into that rhythm,
right,
you can start to, okay, I can turn out a paper and read a book.
It's a big change.
I am looking forward to reading, like free reading.
Right.
When I'm
reading
finished.
For fun again.
Yes, I have a stack of those.
Yes.
But it is harder, but it's actually, if I didn't enjoy it, I would not have dedicated 6 years of my life.
You've got to find that joy. You've got to find that reason, that motivation to keep yourself going when it's hard, when times are super busy. We all have those ebbs and flows of life where there's a lot of family things going on, but oh my gosh, I've got to read a book and write a paper this weekend. When am I going to fit that in? And it's just, but like you said, it's worth it. It is committed all this time.
By the time that, next May, God willing that I get all the papers done, I will be able to sit and say, wow, I did this at, where I didn't imagine my 20-year-old self. I would not have imagined that I would have,
be doing this right now.
Had a master's of divinity and be an ordained pastor. So
that's fabulous. Yeah. Oh gosh, I love it. I love it. And it's just, I think it's a reminder for us as we age that if there's something you feel called to, if there's a purpose or a passion that you have, that it's never too late to start. I did a little course a while back, and one of the topics was it's never too late. And there are people of all ages, whether it's career change, pursuing an advanced degree, doing some kind of traveling, whatever it is, like that you can make a way, and with God's help, you can pursue these things and do these things. And it's a upheaval, right? I'm sure it was for you as you started this degree program, like, oh gosh, I've got to switch some things around in my life, or I've got to kind of prioritize a few things a little differently because I have, a paper to write or whatever it is. But we can do it. And we have it within us to do it. And it can be a little scary, can be a little unsettling, like, oh my gosh, what have I signed myself up for here? What am I doing? But wow, when you see that end, that result coming, May of 2024, that's awesome. I'm so excited for you.
I am. And I look back at especially the last, 10 years, and to imagine that I would be finishing that and doing something that I'm so passionate about, where you can see where God is working every day.
Yeah.
I'm very, very thankful.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love it. I love it so much. Well, we mentioned earlier that you have been to Haiti several times since I've known you, and even probably before that. And I know that really tied into your new role with the church, being the director of missions. And those missions are probably community, local things. There's international things. So can you share a little bit about what initially got you interested in going to Haiti? Because I don't know if a lot of people wake up one day and say, I want to go to Haiti today or tomorrow or whatever. What was kind of that initial stirring in you that you felt called to go there? And just, I'd love for you to talk about your mission work in Haiti a little bit.
Yeah. So when that opportunity first came up at our church, and that would have been in 2014, that we were having our first trip in January of 2015, I saw it and I thought, oh, good for whoever was going to go on that trip. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
And we had a speaker at St. Mark's, and I might butcher his name, but Dr. Gamachis Bupka. Yeah, that is his name.
Yes.
And he talked about doing mission work. He did mission work in Ethiopia. And but he talked about how there's nothing special about him, that he's just following when Jesus' greatest commandment to love God and love others. And when I was listening to that, it was a big revelation for me that, hey, I can do that if that's all that's required to love God and love others.
Yes.
So then I went home and told Mike I'm going to go to Haiti. And surprisingly, he was like, okay. And that was like absolutely not normal. So I was like, well, the Holy Spirit was really working in that situation to soften both of our hearts to that. Mm-hmm. And so I went on the first trip then. And was just blown away. A lot of times I put God on this, he's up in this cloud and he's up there and he did all this stuff back in the Bible, but I didn't really think about what he was doing in the here and now.
Right.
And so there was something about being out of your cultural context and then it just being more clear, maybe because there's less distractions, I don't know, and just seeing how God is working today.
Yeah.
And so that was a big change in my life. And so I've been to Haiti 9 times now.
Oh my
since
gosh,
then.
that's awesome.
And just I see myself as when you go on any mission trip is to listen, learn, and encourage those who are there that you're going to serve. Mm-hmm. Because God has given everybody, no matter where you live and in what economic situation you're in, talents and gifts that can be used.
Absolutely.
And so to be able to go and encourage others and in some way help is just a gift.
Absolutely.
In my life. So
I love that.
I've really, that's been an important part of, and then the friendships that I've made there. There's lots of people in Haiti that I love dearly, just like family.
I love that.
So.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, and our church has a partnership with UCI there, and some of the things that have been that the teams that have gone to Haiti, things that you guys have gone there to do have just been incredible. The work and working with people that live there, and like you said, the relationships and friendships that have grown and the partnership that has grown over these years. I mean, that is just God just working like overtime, I feel like, on that. I mean, it's just been insane what has happened over the years in terms of,
because there's been so many stories of, just popping in my head. One, we went there to build a house, and the plans changed, and we were going to help a family that's been trying to build their house, as they have had funds to do it. And it was just it was, a quarter done and not done well. Mm-hmm. And we went there to help out. And, after, we always pray with everyone before we leave each day. And the father of the family had just prayed how he had, in his prayer, he talked about how he had prayed for 12 years to finish this house for his family. And then he was just giving praise to God for his prayer being answered.
Wow. Wow. That is.
Happens a lot. So.
That's amazing.
There's so many things that you experience and encounter. And that's when I went back to talk about how when you take yourself out of your context into something else, that's when God can not only use you in amazing ways, but open your eyes to what he's doing as well.
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely. Sometimes when it feels like he's far away and not maybe involved, you know, in the day-to-day right now, you look at somewhere like Haiti and what you guys have, you know, as you're going down for trips and you see what he's doing. You see it. It's tangible. And sometimes we need that a little bit. Not that we always have to have that, but it's to see, wow, this family prayed for 12 years for a house to be done. And that probably wasn't their timeline, right? They probably wish they could have had it done faster than that, but he did it, right? And he did it through equipping people with gifts and the heart to travel across the globe to do that. I mean, that's God in action right in front of your face. You know, how more real can it get, you know, when you see that?
Yeah. And we have a brand new mission that we started in Panama that I have a bit of, that's the one thing that is different for me. Well, no, I take it back. I've always had a bit of an adventurous side to me.
Yeah.
And so, we were the first mission group to go into this area to establish with a organization in Panama, mission work being done at this school. And so that's been to see how God is opening doors in that mission from last May until now has been really cool as well. So
I love that. Yeah.
Working with the school and helping the school connect and with the community, especially the indigenous population that's in Panama there. So
wow. It's just, there's always opportunities for people to be a part of that and get involved. And I love that. I love that in this stage of your life, so much has happened. A lot of change, a lot of new things. But what an incredible journey that you've been on. I absolutely love that. It's and like you said, if you would have told yourself at 20, like, oh, hey, guess what you're going to be doing in your 50s? You probably have been like, what? What in the world? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, never. I would have never thought that. So
I love it.
The funny thing is when I was in high school, my pastor, I grew up Lutheran from, I was baptized in the Lutheran church, been Lutheran all my life, but he was in high school. He's like, you should think about going to seminary. And I'm just like, you are out of your mind.
I don't know.
And so of course I messaged him. I messaged him on Facebook.
Is he still alive? Can you tell him?
He's down in Austin, Texas, and I messaged him.
Guess
I'm like,
what? You must have had some kind of a message from the Lord, because guess what I'm up to?
It's funny.
I love that. Well, that kind of leads me into, there's always a couple questions I like to ask every guest that I have on, and kind of leads me into that. So if you could go back to yourself in your 20s and 30s and younger stage of life, what would you tell yourself about this stage, middle age, midlife? What would you tell Michele?
What would I tell Michele? I would tell Michele, I was a lot more worried about, I was a worrier, I guess. And so I would tell myself to relax and enjoy the day.
Yeah.
And not worry so much about tomorrow.
Right.
Because I definitely was a much bigger worrier, and I try to not do that nowadays.
The time spent on the worrying when you could be kind of in the moment, enjoying the moment.
Yeah. Thinking about, especially as you get older, my mom has passed this past year, and my stepdad passed, and I have friends that have unfortunately have gone to the Lord. So it's like to worry about what's coming up next year. Is not
thinking too far ahead. Just stay in the moment, because tomorrow isn't promised, and it's not up to us. And stay in the moment. Yeah,
So you do have to do some planning, but don't be obsessed with it.
Right. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I could definitely have used that too. For sure. What would you say if you could pick something? What's the best thing for you about being in this stage? What are you enjoying the most? What's best about it?
What do I enjoy best about being at this stage of my life? I think I feel okay to be just who I am.
Yes.
And not before, if someone was upset with me for some silly reason, or I was worried about what other people thought, that played into my worry, I guess. And I really don't have that nowadays. So that is the thing that I like the best, is that, I'm with people that I enjoy. I am doing what I feel called to do.
Love that.
And not worried if
so and so thinks, and I think, this or
and
that.
I think especially with the public speaking component of giving a sermon.
Yeah.
I am not concerned. I want to do a great job, but if there's criticism, it's not going to crush me.
Right. Who you are, what you're doing and how the Lord's working in those sermons for you and the congregation, and you don't need someone's criticism isn't going to throw you off.
So that is probably the biggest thing. Cause every once in a while you get nasty grams, for this or that. And it's not very often, so I'm not complaining, but
no. But every now and then it happens.
Every now and then it happens. And even myself, my 40-year-old self would have been crushed by it. But, I look to see, is it legit? Is a legitimate criticism. And if it is, I'm going to own up to it and try to do better, but it's not going to crush my spirit.
Not going to ruin your day.
Yeah. It's not going to crush my spirit.
I love that because I think those things can be devastating. And I think when you get to a place like you're like, I know who I am, I'm confident in my abilities, and somebody's, offhanded comment is not going to break me.
Because frankly, as a woman, we receive criticisms that, a lot of times men do not.
Right.
And being able to really evaluate it and not let it
just ruin it. Yeah, ruin your experience or ruin your path of what you're going to do or question yourself. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, Michele, I just want to thank you for being on the podcast today. This has been so much fun. I've loved hearing about your journey through this really big shift in your life in terms of what you're doing professionally and your degree. And I just can't wait to see what lies ahead for you and your next adventure internationally or whatever that may be.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's fun. I always love hearing when you guys get back from a trip, what's happened, or there's always some just amazing, awesome story that has come from, that we hear.
You should go sometime.
I know. I'm sitting here going, I wonder. You never know.
Next spring.
Yeah. You know what? I tell you what, it's crossed my mind. So it's gone in and then it kind of went back out, but maybe one day it'll stick.
Let it simmer.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Michele, for being on.
Okay.
If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow the show to make sure the latest episode is on your podcast feed each week. I would greatly appreciate a rating and a 5-star review on the podcast platform you're listening on. It helps others to find the show. If there are topics you'd like to have discussed on the show, please email me at themarvelousmiddleagepodcast@gmail.com. The Marvelous Middle Age Podcast is produced by Riley Mullane and is part of the Ananellis Studios Network.